For this question, we're going to use both long division and synthetic division. And it'll be useful to us because we're going to compare the two and perhaps learn something. So we'll start by using long division. We have 4x minus 8, and we're dividing that into 12x cubed plus 20x squared minus 8x plus 11. So we begin by determining what 12x cubed divided by 4x is. That is equal to 3x squared. We take that 3x squared and we distribute it to both the 4x and the negative 8. 3x squared times 4x is 12x cubed. 3x squared times negative 8 is negative 24x squared. Now we're going to subtract those two expressions, so we'll put a bracket around the lower expression. And now we'll say 12x cubed minus, out in front of the bracket, 12x cubed is 0, so that goes away. Now we're going to say 20x squared minus, in front of the bracket, negative 24x squared is going to be positive 44x squared. And we're going to drop down the negative 8x and the positive 11. Okay, so now we'll do another division. We want to know what is 44x squared divided by 4x. Well, 44x squared divided by 4x is going to equal positive 11x. So we put that up top, positive 11x. And we distribute again. Positive 11x times 44x is 44x squared. Positive 11x times negative 8 is negative 88x. So we're going to subtract this second expression from the first one. We have 44x squared, and we're going to subtract a 44x squared. So that's 0, and that eliminates. We have a negative 8x here, and we're subtracting. We see that subtraction in front. A negative 88x. Well, negative 8 minus negative 88 is positive 80. So we're going to actually have a positive 80x here. Again, negative 8x minus negative 88x is positive 8x. And we're going to drop down everything remaining, which is a plus 11. And we'll do one more here. We've got 80x, and we're going to divide by 4x. 80x divided by 4x is positive 20. And we will distribute again. Positive 20 times 4x, positive 20 times negative 8. So positive 20 times 4x is 80x. Positive 20 times negative 8 is negative 160. We'll subtract again. We're going to put a minus sign, as we always do, in front of that expression. 80x minus, in front of the bracket, 80x is 0. And then we have 11 minus negative 160. 11 minus negative 160 is like 11 plus 160, which is 171. And we have a remainder. Now you might wonder, how do we know this is our remainder of 171? We know that because it's a lower degree than our divisor, which is 4x minus 8. 171 is a degree 0 statement because 171 is like saying 171x to the 0. So that remainder of 171 is a degree 0. And the divisor, the 4x minus 8, that's like 4x to the 1 minus 8, that's degree 1. So our remainder is, the remainder is lower degree than our divisor, so we have our remainder, and we can make our division statement. So our division statement is that 2x cubed plus 20x squared minus 8x plus 11 over, that's 12x cubed, my bad. The division statement says 12x cubed plus 20x squared minus 8x plus 11 over 4x minus 8. I'm just repeating the question up here. That's all I'm doing. That is equal to my quotient sitting up top, which is 3x squared plus 11x plus 20. Then I'm going to add my remainder, which is 171, over my dividend, which is 4x minus 8. And my multiplication statement is going to be 12x cubed plus 20x squared minus 8x plus 11 is equal to my quotient times my dividend plus my remainder. Okay? Now, let's approach this using synthetic division. And there's a reason we're doing this, and it's because there's a common mistake people make using synthetic division when the divisor is linear, but the coefficient of x is not 1. What I mean by that is right now our divisor is 4x minus 8. The coefficient of x is 4. It's not 1. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set that equal to 0. And we're going to solve for x. This tells us that what we should do is put a 2 out in front of our synthetic division because we have x equal to 2. We'll put a 2 out front of our synthetic division. And we're going to put the coefficients of the dividend in here. 12, 20, -8, 11. And because there was a minus sign in the original divisor with a positive lead coefficient, this number, because there was a negative sign, that number out front will be positive. We change the sign as you know. So using synthetic division, what will happen is we'll drop down the 12. We see that 2 times 12 is 24. And we'll add this column. 20 plus 24 is 44. Then we'll see this 2 multiplied by 44 is going to be 88. -8 plus 88 is equal to 80. And then this 2 will multiply by positive 80, and we will get 160. And we'll add this last column. 11 plus 160 is 171. Okay. Now, the mistake people make, I'll write out the mistake first. The mistake people make is they'll say, okay, 12x cubed plus 20x squared minus 8x plus 11 over at 4x minus 8. They'll look at what the original question was, and they'll write that down in their division statement. And they'll assume that that's what they should be doing. And then they'll say that this is equal to the quotient, which is 12x squared plus 44x plus 80 plus 171 over 4x minus 8. Okay? But the problem is we're not actually allowed to say that. So I'm going to circle this right here. And I'll show you the mistake. It would be wrong to write what's written in that cloud because we didn't divide by 4x minus 8. If you look right where I'm making the stars here, it says there's a 2 there. That means we divided by x minus 2. So In my division statement, where I'm putting an arrow right there, in my division statement, I need to change this from a 4x minus 8 to an x minus 2. And similarly, I need to change underneath the 171, instead of a 4x minus 8 there, I need to change that to an x minus 2, because that's all I really did. If you have a 2 in front, you've divided by x minus 2, not by 4x minus 8. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, but I wanted to divide by 4x minus 8. One way of remedying that, and again, look at where the arrow is. Look where I'm pointing right now. One way to remedy that is simply to multiply this denominator by 4. We'll divide by 4 times x minus 2. But if I multiply that denominator by 4, then I need to multiply all of these denominators by 4 as well on the other side. Mathematically, what I've just done is I've divided both sides of an equation by 4. So what does that end up as? Well, everything that's written in what I'm circling now, I'm going to rewrite it one more time. What I have is 12x cubed plus 20x squared minus 8x plus 11 over this 4 times x minus 2. I'll express that as 4x minus 8. And that's going to equal 12x squared over 4, which is 3x squared, plus 44x over 4, which is 11x, plus 80 over 4, which is 20, plus 171 over 4 times quantity x minus 2, which is 171 over 4x minus 8. And now I'll erase my first division statement, and I'll make this be my division statement, the one I've just put a box around. And how do I know that this is right? Well, I have a pretty good idea that it's correct because it's exactly the same as the division statement I did when I used long division. So the moral of the story is as follows. I'll try to summarize it really quickly for you. If you have a linear divisor, in this case 4x minus 8, and if that coefficient of x in that divisor is not 1, which is the case here, the divisor is 4, then you can still use synthetic division by setting that divisor equal to 0 and solving for x. In this case, we got a 2, following the normal steps of synthetic division. But then when you get to the end, you have to realize that you're going to have to multiply the denominators on each side of the equation by whatever the coefficient of x was in the original divisor. So in this case, it was 4. Multiplying denominators by 4 is another way of saying dividing by 4. Now, if all of that seems a little bit complicated to you, then there's a second option, and I recommend this to students who are at all confused. If you're at all confused by what we did with the synthetic division on the right side of this page, but you understood the long division side, then my recommendation to you is if you have a linear divisor, in this case 4x minus 8, and the coefficient of x isn't 1, use long division. If you use long division, you don't have to worry about this successive thing that I just finished saying. It'll work out correctly, and you can just state your multiplication statement and division statement as normal.